So, this is the craziest thing that's ever happened to me on a run. August 2025, I'm in London on my world tour after going to the Paris Olympics. Amazing stuff. My internet friend Sam's like, hey Connor, let's go for an awesome long run. I'll give you a tour of all of London. Epic. So we meet up and off we go. I think we're in Richmond Park. Amazing stuff. I'm barely keeping up because this guy's insanely fit. We'll get to that in a second. Out of the corner of my left eye, I see a deer flying out, well, not flying, running out of the forest to my left. I think I'm about to die, okay? These antlers are like a meter wide. Not good. At the last second, just before I, count my blessings, this thing turns to the left and darts off into the forest, and we survive. And today I'm going to talk to Sam about this experience and many others because he's an insanely fast runner. I hope you enjoy. Peace.
Okay, Sam. The first question and probably the most important question that I think
Yeah.
everyone wants to know. What is your resting heart rate?
Not very good right now. It's not been very good this week, to be honest. Usually it's really hard to say with the watches because obviously they use optical light as their sort of metric, so it's not 100% accurate, but generally around 45, 44. Whether or not that's actually accurate though, is
Yeah,
another question. But it fluctuates with daily activity, like what's
yeah.
going on during the day, like training. Are you ill? Are you fully healthy? But generally around 45, I would say. Yeah.
Because
How about yourself?
you're still a young buck. Well, mine's gone down to like 37 recently.
37. Get this
I
guy
don't
in a
know
5K
why. I
now.
must have like the biggest heart. I must have a third lung or something that I got put in.
A third
I
lung.
don't know. I think it's because I've like really recommenced doing lots and lots of training recently. So I think like it's just dropping down to where it was previously because my
You were
heart rate's
doing
always
loads
been
of
that
cross
low.
training. You were doing like a ton
Heaps.
of cross training, so you're
Yeah.
probably just extremely aerobically fit regardless.
Yeah, I think I've logged 14 hours the last 3 weeks, which is pretty fat,
That's
isn't it?
that's a lot of hours. I think that's
Just
double my
locked in.
training amount.
Just locked in. We'll get to
Pretty
that.
much.
We'll get to that a little bit later, but I think
Yeah.
it'd be really cool for you to go through all of your current PBs because they're pretty insane.
Yeah, so at the moment, I don't know how like familiar you guys are in Australia with track distances, but so 1500 meters is 353 from this year. Haven't done many of them, but I kind of stick away from that kind of stuff. I'm better at the longer stuff. I'm more aerobic than anaerobic, so naturally, the longer the distance, the better I'm going to run. 3000 meters, I did one or two races this year, 820. So for context, that's 250 per kilometer. And then recently did a 5K, which I won the race, 14:33. So that's about 254.8 or something a kilometer. 10K a couple years ago, 31:20 something. Planning on redoing that this year. It's been about
Insane.
yeah, it's been 3 years since I ran that. So I'm hoping to get low 30 minutes or under 30 minutes in the recent 10Ks coming up.
Would that be like 30, 301, 302 per K kind
301
of?
sub
Yeah.
3 minute kilometers for 10K obviously gets you 29 something, which
Yeah.
sounds pretty cool, right?
Does sound
And
cool.
then I recently did my first half marathon. I hadn't necessarily trained for it as such, like specifically. I kind of just did the mileage that I've been doing, and I ran 69 minutes. So pretty good. I've not dared venture into the marathon yet. I might do London next year just to do it. To be
Yeah.
honest, it looks so fun. Like got such bad FOMO
If you
watching
can
it,
get
but
in,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, you
if you
probably
can
would
get
be able
it,
to
that's what I
qualify
mean.
with your times, with your
It's,
like elite times,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah. So there's two ways of qualifying for London. There's good for age, which people can get, and there's championship. If you run under 71:30, you get championship. So I kind
yeah,
of got that time, and to be honest, it's so fun watching it every year. It's kind of like if you've got the chance to do it, even if you don't fully go for it, just running round is still going to be
yeah,
like really fun.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and that's kind of a rough overview of where
Crazy,
I'm at the moment.
crazy crazy PBs. Seriously crazy.
Yeah,
How old are you? Like 20, 22,
23.
23.
So I think
Um,
the thing for me is it's been like a long term progression thing. So like when I started running at like 13, I wasn't that good really on paper, but you just keep going and sort of keep training, keep turning up, even when it's not fun. And I
yeah,
think people think it's overnight success or oh you're really talented, but it's like if you run most days a week for 10 years, you're probably gonna get pretty good at something. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
definitely.
And I think consistency has been the biggest thing for me, really.
Yeah. So what do you think your, say, like average training week would look like? I know that you've it's been all over the place with you doing, study and things like
Yeah,
that,
no,
but
yeah, I mean, to be honest, what I've done is it's been really good to be honest. Over the last 2 years, especially, just made like not that it wasn't already, but like made running just a part of my day. And like it's almost like now if I don't do that run, my day hasn't functioned properly as such. It's almost like it's not even training. It's almost like I'm just doing this because I have to, as such, not because I have to, but because it's just a part of my day. So at the moment, it generally looks like 3 sessions a week, sometimes two. Two of those sessions over the last few months, especially well, the last year, have been like threshold based sessions. So I usually just dumb it down to half marathon pace sessions for people. So I just do half marathon pace for two of those sessions, and then one session a week or a race tends to be a harder effort. So I always try and get a quicker session in every week, just so I'm getting that leg turnover, just so I'm working the
yeah,
lungs more aerobically. And then obviously the other two sessions are yeah just more lactate threshold based, but to keep it simple, half marathon pace. And then just around that is just sprinkled easy runs, and then you have your longer run once a week. I really just try to keep things as simple as possible. No need to complicate things. Just do your staple long run, your sessions, and your easy runs. Do all three of them. I'd say the only thing that I probably should be doing more of that I will continue to moan about, but I know it's important, extremely important, is gym. Obviously, being in the gym is extremely, we know the benefits of that. For me, it's usually just a timing thing, just making the time to go and do it. But if I don't
absolutely.
go to the gym, I'm probably sat around the house doing some weird calf
Yeah,
raising on the steps or
nothing wrong with that.
something.
Plus, it keeps
And
the girlfriend
people
happy,
are
which
looking
is
at me
good.
thinking, why is he doing calf raises whilst I'm cooking dinner? But like, I'm just trying to do little things.
Mm.
And yeah, so at the moment, I think the last few months, I've only averaged about 70K weeks or 40 miles, 45 miles a week, which isn't actually a lot of running, really,
No.
in the grand scheme of things. And like, I found I've actually been running a lot better off that than as opposed to higher mileage.
Yeah.
And I
That's like
think there's a
five,
lot
six
of
hours a week, right? Like five, six
yeah,
hours a
not
week.
not.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got it up here. I've just got it up. Not a lot of hours on feet, really. Yeah,
Mm.
five and a half, six,
Yeah.
7. I
So if I
think
remember correctly, when
yeah,
when we caught up in London, probably this time last year, I think your PB was like 1450, is that correct? Something around that?
14:58,
Yeah, yeah.
and
And
then
you
like
so you've taken off like a considerable chunk over 12 months. Is there something in particular that you've done differently, or is it just consistency or anything like that
I
that's
think it's
that's
been yeah, it's been honestly, still I'm trying to get my head around it myself. I think a lot of it is just obviously consistency, right? Obviously, over years of training, like you are going to get to a point where like you do just improve. But I think for me, it's actually been just like controlling my training a lot more and being a bit more sort of specific about what I'm doing instead of just going to the track and just blasting out, a really good session on paper and being all happy and then getting into the race and running terribly. Actually, now I'm a lot more in control of my training. I'm like, I know that on race day I've got a bit more left. And,
Mm,
by doing that, I think I've really improved my racing. And I think when you race, this is the other thing I've been doing differently this year that I would recommend anybody does across any distance of any ability. I think this is a huge thing that I overlooked for literally years. It's like instead of worrying about time and like I have to hit these splits, I have to do this, just race. Like it's literally it's called a race. So like
yeah,
I'm sat there all these other years looking at my watch. Oh, I have to hit this split at this time to know I'm on track. When
yeah,
actually, if you just forget about the watch and the time, and you just think, right, I want to beat this person in front of me. I want to get to this point before them, or I have to, I have to stick with this person. I really want to beat them. You end up just running quicker subconsciously because you're not so focused on the outcome. You just want to
yeah,
beat that person. You're not like obsessing over every split. You're not looking at, oh, I've slowed down 2 seconds, so now my race is ruined. you just want to race. And every PB I've done this year, bar one, I've won the race. In other years, I've ran PBs or not ran, usually not ran PBs over the last year, and I haven't won the race. As soon as I've been racing to actually just
Yeah.
try and win, I found that the PBs have just been coming.
Yeah. Do you
And
think you just kind of like distribute your energy a little bit more efficiently throughout the entire length of the race because
yeah,
you're
you
constantly
just
trying to
like
make sure that you've got something left to give in case something happens?
absolutely. I mean, like I say, the two performances for me that stood out this year were my 8:23K, won that race, and then the 14:33 5K the other week, I won that race as well. And the whole time, they've both been really quick finishes. So I think for some apparent reason, we ended up doing a 2:47 or 2:46 last K in that 5K. And even I was looking at my watch after thinking, how did
Yeah.
I just do that? But you kind of like you just do it because you're racing and
Mm.
you sort of finish the race and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. But you're so tunnel visioned on beating somebody that actually like that fast finish almost just happens. You're not focusing and looking at the watch going, oh, I just ran a 68-second lap. You're actually like so locked in. And I think that, yeah, in previous years, I probably would have been checking my watch with 2 laps to go, which
Yeah.
is not, in my opinion, optimal for good racing and good
Absolutely.
times. And I think I've learned a lot myself about that in the last year, and I think that's something that can convert to the longer distances, especially.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Incredible. That's crazy. So
thank
I
you.
guess in regards to the future, like what kind of things are you going to do to take that next step? What kind of things are you going to do in your training?
Yeah, so myself and my house, we're obviously based in London at the moment, but me and my housemate have been, I think this is another reason why things have potentially improved as much as they have. I mentioned about controlling training a lot more. If you look at what some of the best people in the world are doing and you try and follow that, generally you get pretty good. So we've been
Mm.
using this device. It's a lactate monitor. They're quite expensive. This actually isn't mine. This is my housemate's, but we kind of share it occasionally on sessions. Essentially, what you're looking to do is keep your lactate below a certain point and control your training. And I think this has been the thing for me. A lot of people train off heart rate, which is absolutely fine, and heart rate is great for X amount of people, but we know that heart rate is so variable. Like I can go out for a
Yeah.
run this morning and my heart rate might say I'm incredibly unfit but it might be really high and I might be like, oh God, that shouldn't happen. But
Mm.
that can be down to so many reasons. It can be down to stress, lack of sleep,
Yeah.
so many things. Whereas lactate is a lot more controlled, and that's why the best people in the world are using it because it's just a controlled effort and it shows up a specific value. So what we tend to do is we tend to use it once a session. Me and my housemate were quite similar ability with our recent 5Ks, so we kind of share the lactate meter. He actually uses it a lot more than me. What we do is though, yeah, we just take a reading midway through, or my housemate will take a reading and we'll go, okay, are we overcooking this right now or not? If we're going too fast and the lactate value is above 3.0, we know to back off a bit. If we know that the value is below that, then we continue and crack on. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah. And
Um,
are the values different between you two, do you
they
think?
can be, but to be fair, like I said, my housemate Will, he generally gets like sort of similar values to me generally. You shouldn't really go off someone else's value, but generally, if you've got two people that are literally a near enough ability, you can kind of. Also, the
Yeah, okay.
strips are bloody expensive.
Yeah, I know.
The
It's like
strips are so
six bucks or
expensive,
something. Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
we use the strips very sparingly. Let's put it that way. Will uses, yeah, like I say, uses them a lot more than me. But for what I would say is, like I was saying earlier, for most people, and including myself, if I'm not going to use this. I'll just go to the track or the park and I'll just bosh out Ks at half marathon pace because generally half marathon pace is around about 3 millimoles for myself. It's
Mm.
about the pace you can hold for 60 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Which is about your lactate threshold, well, LT1. So that's the pace that I would hold if I didn't use one of these. And if I was to recommend sort of more controlled training for most people, I would just say don't get one of these and just go at your half marathon pace for Ks or 2Ks
Mm.
because that's what's going to target that zone.
Yeah.
And I think what I was doing previously was I was probably doing my 3 sessions a week, and which for good or bad, and was just smashing them out, putting them on Strava. Oh, I've just ran these incredible splits, so it means I'm in 14:10 shape. But actually I'd get in the race and end up running 15 something,
Mm,
just because my body was just so tired.
yeah,
Whereas now I'm running 3:20. I think before that 5K, I hadn't broken 3 minutes for a K in a couple weeks.
yeah,
But because the aerobic engine and the lactate threshold has just built up and up and up and up, you
yeah.
you get in the race and suddenly 255s feel comfortable because you've just built up that tolerance. And people go, oh, well, you haven't ran that in training, so it means you can't. It doesn't always work like that, is what I've realized. I'm
Nah,
absolutely
not if
convinced
you're
it
doing a
doesn't
lot
work.
of threshold stuff. You
Sorry,
kind of not if you are doing lots of threshold stuff. Like,
exactly.
hard to
And like I
say what
said,
you're gonna get on race day.
myself in previous years would be going down to the track, probably almost from a bit of an insecurity element as well, showing myself I have to run these splits to show that I'm in this shape. But I'd get in the race and it just would never materialize.
Yeah,
Whereas now, when things are a bit more controlled, have a bit more energy on race day, combine that with the will to try and win, just
yeah,
combine the two, and it just creates such a, if I
mm,
wasn't, if it wasn't the end of track season now, I would have carried on racing. And I think that 5K probably would have just kept incrementally going down and down just because the combination of winning races and just enjoying training
mm,
would have just kept. That's the other thing, probably the third thing out of the three. So you've got your controlled training, you've got your wanting to win races, so the will to actually just race. But I think just people overlook this one as well, just being happy.
yeah,
It sounds so, so, so silly, but when you're just enjoying running and just like loving the process of just racing and like enjoying training and happy in other elements of your life, you just race so much better. You do, and I think there's a
mm,
huge part of that is overlooked. That people just think, oh,
absolutely.
well, I'm
Yeah,
training really
mindset's
well, so
very important.
yeah,
Mindset's
massively.
so
So
important.
I think if you can go into the race and see it as a positive and think actually I'm doing this because I enjoy it. We're doing this because we want to push ourselves. We're doing it because we enjoy it.
Yeah,
This is a hobby. I said, well, I say it's a hobby, it's a lifestyle almost, but it ultimately is a hobby. Let's
absolutely.
just enjoy it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely. So Sam, you're going to be starting your own YouTube channel that we've been talking about this for a while.
been
This is
talking about
this
it
is
for like 2 years.
exciting. Yeah, this is exciting. What kinds of things are you going to be covering on this channel?
Yeah, well, everybody seems to be chipping in and telling me to do this, so I'm gonna give it a go. I'll probably start quite small with what I post, but it would just be things like looking at shoes, looking at different training methods, maybe even, do you know what, just going over some of my races and just explaining them and just talking things through. I think talking about the training stuff is really important though, because I think this kind of stuff is going to be mainstream in the next decade, and I think I genuinely just don't think people know enough about it yet because it's
Yeah.
just science, and I don't think I could go back to training to heart rate now. I don't think I could. As
Mm,
much as heart rate is a good guide, I just think in the future people are just going to dismiss it. I think it's a great ballpark, great, but if you want specifics, you need to look at stuff like this to really understand what's going on. But yeah, no, I think for me it will just be looking at training principles, looking at
yeah.
gear, looking at races. Right now, I think, and just enjoy it again, just enjoying it. If I'm posting stuff because I feel like I'm obliged to do so, I won't enjoy it. So it's
And
about
that's the key. That's the
it's
key.
about, do I want to go to the track and record this session? Probably not. Oh, actually, do I want to today? Yes, I do. So I'm going to put it. Do you know what I mean? It will be
Yeah,
very much a thing for me of like, if I want to do it, I'll do it. And I
yeah.
think just sharing knowledge with people about things. I think, you know, the reality is you tell people you've run 14 something for 5K and they will always there'll be an aura of like, oh wow, how have you done that? So to be honest, just sharing advice with people and being like, well, this
That's
is
it,
what's
man.
worked for me.
Hmm.
Here's what I've done. Why don't you try it?
Yeah.
Because I know when I was running 16, 17, 18 minutes a couple years ago, I was constantly asking people that were quicker than me for advice. I was like, how did you do that? How did you? And, I'd always try and just find things out. And, I know people that run 13 minutes and I'm looking at what they're doing and
Yeah.
but there's more than one way to skin a cat as well. And I think that's the other thing. Some people will have got ways of training that help them. I think I've found over the last few months this is helping me. But whether or not that continues is hard to say. But right now it seems like it is working and hopefully will convert over the longer stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Sam.
No, no worries.
We'll keep in touch.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch. Pleasure, mate.
See ya.